Orders from on high.
What does Mordor want with rings, anyway?
The less I know, the better.
I think any Lord of the Rings fan, hardcore Lord of the Rings fan, is going to love it. But also, it's accessible for anybody that doesn't know much about Lord of the Rings as well. Now, first question for both of you. What themes from J.R.R. Tolkien's work did you find most essential to incorporate in this film, and how did you adapt them for an anime format?
Oh, gosh, great question.
Thank you.
We were just talking with Nerd of the Rings actually about this, and he brought up pity and mercy, which does come into play towards the end of the film through our protagonist, a conversation that she has with Freyalaf, which is a nice sort of rounding out of the story, we thought. So certainly that.
Also this idea of hope and sort of in the darkest of times, in the darkest of places, in a location sort of like Helm's Deep, you know, that's what keeps these characters alive. That's the light in the dark tunnel. And I think that speaks a lot to Tolkien's work as well.
And being able to characters leaning on each other, the sort of courage and resilience, certainly, from Hera as well, and in that relationship with Olwen and Hera. Sort
of being a hero and being a leader isn't a singular role, you know, it takes courage. It takes the courage of one, but it also takes, you know, that person to trust and have support around them. You know, so all those types of ideas. You know.
Incredible. Now, can you talk about creating new characters and expanding on existing ones to serve relatable guides for a new audience and loyal fans of Middle-earth?
Yeah, well, we have our central character who is unnamed but is in the text. That honestly was very exciting for us coming to the project, getting to bring that character to life, especially given that it was going to be a young woman. I was super excited about that. So there is Hera.
So you start looking at sort of other characters in the world, and so for Hera you could lean into Eowyn.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Drawing inspiration from Eowyn, we knew that straight off the bat. We would be looking at who paved the way for Eowyn to exist. That was a brilliant sort of roadmap to follow. And then there was the question of Hera's mother. So we decided, amongst all the collaborators, you know, that she would have passed on. And then we wanted to bring in Olwen. That was a character that we created. To sort of strengthen this Shield Maiden storyline that we had going on. So that was kind of reasoning behind Olwen. There are a few others that are new. There's old Penny Cruick. She was a sort of a fun one to blend anime and Tolkien together, we thought. Like, we loved the design that Kamiyama did for her. She was really fun to write dialogue for. This old gossip rattling around the Hornberg, you know.
and for me in Leaf, there's a lot of Sam. You know, it's sort of, it's just, if you're looking at making characters or extending characters, you sort of look around at what other characters are in Tolkien's work and sort of using them as blueprints, I think.
Yeah, leaning on the history.
Incredible. Now, Arty, you mentioned feeling apprehensive initially. Can you talk about how the team's expertise and experience helped ease those concerns?
I think it was just, you know, being a fan of those films and knowing how much the books mean to people. It's you want people to be proud in anything that comes out of Middle Earth. So I mean, that's where the sort of the anxiety or the apprehension comes from. You know, it's about wanting to do the world proud. But we quickly realized that we were with a team of people who have done this before and done it to, I mean, they're the reasons why I love this world. So, you know, we fell into warm, open, collaborative hands, you know.
I will say as well, at least for me, in the writing of it, we didn't feel it as much. It wasn't really, we did feel very sort of supported and free and could dive in and we got lost in the fun of it. So that was great, but it comes colliding back at you once you're done with the process. So it's more of a retrospective thing, honestly.
Now, Phoebe, can you talk about the immense pressure in honoring Tolkien's legacy and how you manage that responsibility while still crafting your own unique contribution to the story?
Yeah, well, it was very daunting. I was saying this before earlier as well. Just recently, we were with Philippa in Oxford. She was giving a talk at Merton College, and she said something that kind of really struck me is that the text will always be there. that did kind of free something up in me to know that this is its own format. It is its own medium. The text will always be there. We are exploring in between the cracks and things like that. But that did kind of help alleviate some of the weight on the shoulders. And it's its own unique thing. It's its own medium.
Absolutely. Can you talk about how Helm's weakness, his children, affect his decision making, both as a father and as a king?
Yes, I love that you just got
to the heart of the movie.
To the heart of it, because yes, that is absolutely his weakness. And it does cloud his vision, particularly when it comes to Hera. I think he had a very particular plan for her that obviously all goes awry. And he is driven in these moments, I think, out of fear of what will happen to his children. And it does skew some of the decision making massively. And that is a huge part of Helm's journey. Helm and Hera together is how their relationship develops, and how he comes to learn that he does actually need to be able to take a step back and let her come to her own kind of choices and decisions.
Absolutely. Now, Arty, how did the animated format allow you to explore timeless battles between good and evil in a new, unique way?
I think for me, it's well, at least in the world of the films of Middle Earth, I really love this idea that we got to play with sort of ghost imagery or horror film energy, and during the Wraith of Helm sequences. I mean, let alone the fact that it's rendered so beautifully during these wintry landscapes. It was fun to be able to sort of write, hoping that that those sequences would be sort of just as creepy as you wanted, and then we got to see what the animators came up with, the art directors under Kenji's direction, and it was beyond what we were hoping. So being able to sort of genre blend into horror and to I think that's one of the best examples of it.
Absolutely. Now, Phoebe, you mentioned that the relationship between Hera and Helm was amongst one of your favorite aspects to write. What inspired this intimate bookend scene between them at the stables and at the gate of?
Yeah, that was some of my favorite stuff to write. It is speaking to finding a way to show that development. Helm kind of, and from both of them, but Helm kind of coming to terms with knowing that she's going to be okay, knowing that she has in and of herself can make these decisions, and that there's that dialogue at the gate where she's saying they still need you, and he says, no, Hera, they need you, and coming to those kind of understandings that actually she will make different choices than what he made, and that is what his people need in this moment in time. That was what was driving a lot of those story beats.
Incredible. Well, look, congratulations on the film. Like I said, the animation's gorgeous. It's perfect for any person that's a hardcore Lord of the Rings fan, or if you're brand new to the world and you want to get introduced to it. Thank you guys so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Fear took hold of Wolf's men. Whispers spread that Helm Hammerhand was human no more. A terror born of madness and grief.